quickly realized I loved working with people, but I didn't enjoy taking weapons and drugs off people all the time. The interesting thing is, in Atlantic City, individuals would jump from one casino to the other. That's the challenge you dealt with more so, turnover.
There was an era where, like sales and marketing, sales blames marketing for the leads not being any good, marketing blames sales for not closing deals.
Figure out what you don't want and what you don't like as early as you can. My biggest advice to anyone was just say yes. I mean, even though it sounds scary as heck, just say yes. And there's so much that comes from that. Your networks are your most powerful thing in your life and your career. I learned very early in life about burning bridges and the disaster it could cause, quite frankly.
Hey, this is William Tincup and Ryan Leary. You are listening, hopefully watching, the Practitioner Corner podcast. We've got Jessica on today. We're going to explore her career, her journey to where she is now, and maybe even where she's going with her career. So let's start with introductions. Jessica, would you do us a favor, and the audience a favor, and introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here. Currently, I'm the CHRO at Apex Analytics. We are headquartered out of Greensboro, North Carolina. We provide enterprise risk resolution for really the global 2000. Some really great customers, some of the largest in the world. Two main things we do: accounts payable recovery audit services and supplier management solutions. I've been here about 2.5 years now, and it has just been a joy. It's been a lot of fun, a lot of change, and excited to dive in deeper.
Yeah, I think the whole industry has gone through a change in the last couple of years. So Jessica, this show is all about you. This is all about your background, your career trajectory, and how you got to where you are. So you want to just jump in, William? Where did this start? What was the dream coming out of high school? What did you want to do?
Absolutely. So, I would say going into early years and out of high school into college, started out figuring out what do I want to major in. Thought I wanted to be a teacher, so kind of went down that path and majored in psychology. Probably in about a year in, changed to criminal justice. I wanted to be a cop. I wanted to get into the forensics, and so I was majoring in criminal justice. And one summer, between kind of semesters, my stepfather came home while I was home for the summer and said, Six Flags Great Adventure is interviewing for criminal justice internships. I said, oh, I want to go do that. And so I spent the summer in uniform, being a security guard at Six Flags. And it was a lot of fun, but I quickly realized I loved working with people, but I didn't enjoy taking weapons and drugs off of people all the time.
Right.
How many weapons and drugs were you pulling off of kids?
Dude, there's a Six Flags here in Arlington.
This is New Jersey.
You'd be amazed.
That's true. True. Exit 7, right? Is it exit 7?
Yes.
Yeah.
Turnpike. Yeah, 7A. And it's right there in Philly and Jersey, New York. So it was really busy. It was a lot of fun, great experience, great people experience. But I realized, okay, I want to work with people, but not in this way. And so I actually went into, with Six Flags, a recruiting role. A seasonal recruiting role, and I loved it. Hiring seasonally, during the summers, and it was just a great time. Also bringing in volunteers. We brought in a lot of volunteers, just to supplement our workforce for the summers. So we bring in cross-country teams and, baseball team, athletic, organizations and otherwise for the summers. So it was just super fun, great time. And again, it put me in that place of working with people in a different capacity. Yeah. And so really, really enjoyed that. So that's kind of how I got started. And that was while I was working on my bachelor's degree. Got the entry into HR.
I love it. And the y'all's is you're probably, your Six Flags is different than the one here in Arlington, because they do a winter because of the weather, right? So they do a winter Six Flags around Christmas.
Yeah.
They've got it open for about a month and a half. and in the summer, but obviously with the weather y'all have up there, it's probably not
Right.
tenable for
Yeah.
that to happen.
Not so much.
Um,
I think they've done a little bit of that here and there over the years.
yeah. If the weather's going to work for you, it's great because kids would love to be able to, especially season pass holders, would love to go out there and use it. So how long were you at Six Flags? Or wait, first of all, you're doing this while you're doing your degree,
I
right?
am, yeah. So I was doing this during the summers during my degree, and then I actually shifted. I still wanted to continue working while I was going to school, and at the time, the college I was going to, I could take some night courses and still kind of go full time. And so I actually took a role at Trump casinos in recruiting in HR. So I was commuting from about Toms River down to Atlantic City.
I was about to say,
Yep.
yeah,
And this is when Trump had 4 casinos. So he had the Trump Plaza, which is where our office was,
right,
World's Fair,
right.
Marina, and Taj Mahal.
Oh, I remember the Taj
And
Mahal.
we did staffing across all four. And so I had, the horizontal of certain roles across all four. And it was high volume recruiting. So we had a staffing kind of front desk. So we had a staffing assistant who would intake at the time hardcore, hard applications, paper applications, and they would do all the intake, and we would, in the office, do a lot of the interviewing and passing through to the hiring managers and that. So I saw a lot in that time. It was about a year and a half or so being there. Really high volume, uh, good experience. That was a lot of fun.
All right, question on the recruiting. So you had
Taj
Six
Mahal.
Flags. Well, you had Six Flags, high volume, seasonal,
Yep,
but you're dealing with mostly, I'm guessing, high
that's right.
school-ish,
Yeah.
college freshmen, people like that. And then at the casinos, we all know what you're getting there,
Mhm.
right? Which was better? I
A
was gonna go which is
criminal
worse. I'm gonna
background
keep it
check is what you're getting
positive.
there.
I was gonna keep it I'm gonna keep it a positive instead of saying which is worse, which was more challenging.
Um, I guess the casinos, it was more variety of roles because you're hiring dealers, you're
Right.
hiring, housekeeping, you're hiring, kitchen waiters, the whole gamut. And then you're hiring professionals. So we would hire professionals in security and administrative roles. And so it was nice for me because it was so diverse. And every day was a new day. And you saw a lot. You got a lot of great experience. You dealt with unions there too,
Yep.
Hmm.
and so there were the labor unions and positions there. So it was challenging, but not not all that difficult. It was just you learned really how to navigate some of those challenges and a variety of different roles and diversity of people.
Well, it's going from one fire to another. And so you learn how to put on the fireman hat, figure it out.
Yep. It's
Because,
all like entertainment industry is.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, we've had some friends that ran recruiting at MGM, and it's insane. Like really insane. Uh, not just because of the breadth of physicians, but even the filling, because like dealers, will take that as an example. They'll be with you for 3 weeks and then gone. And it's like, and the work to get that person to a place and then place them, it was massive
Yeah.
to just get them to that place. I think Six Flags, at least back when I went to Six Flags, it was relatively easy. It was a paper app,
That's right.
and then you talk to somebody, and they're like, "Okay, show up on Tuesday."
Yeah, and you showed up and
Yeah.
that was
Right.
it.
Yeah.
I've always been curious on the deal. This is off topic a little bit. Hiring dealers, right? What is that process like? Is it like a really tough background check? How are you running these people through?
Yeah, they're getting fingerprinted.
100%.
Hmm.
The commission.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So yeah, you're really going through the commission, and yeah, you're going for fingerprints. I had to too. I had to go through a similar background, and but it is a lot more thorough. The interesting thing is in Atlantic City, at least at this point, back in late 90s, early 2000s, you know, individuals would jump from one casino to the other.
100%.
That's the challenge you dealt with more so,
For
is
a dollar more.
turnover. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The turnover is pretty incredible, but they're going from one to the other, yeah, for the competitive pay, for sure.
In Vegas, Ryan, if the dealer didn't know the game that well, like, whatever it is, Texas Hold'em, 21, blackjack, whatever, if they didn't know the game, they actually had training programs for the dealers to train them on the
Mhm.
game. If they could pass all that other stuff, the fingerprinting and
Mhm.
all the background, criminal, all that
That's the
stuff,
tough part.
if they could pass that, I remember Brad Warga telling me, I'll train them on the game. We got experts that can train them how to do the game and how to work with the pit boss and all that other stuff. Like we can train them on all that stuff. I can't train them out of 3 DUIs or some type of criminal charge that's on their record.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a
So,
lot of trainings and boot camps and all that,
right?
and ways to attract the talent,
Yep.
to kind of pour into them and get them up to speed on the development side. But you're right. I mean, you just have to pass some of the basics.
But you had the same situation, which we've seen here more in since COVID. The kind of the high volume hourly market is they'll go for 50 cents more from Taco Bell to Verizon.
Yep.
And so that's crazy just to think like, okay, somebody's offering you 50 cents more and you just drop that, start the next job, 50 cents more at, pick a place.
Yep.
They'll do that. Like they're just trying to get a little bit more money each time they move. There's no loyalty whatsoever. And I think that's probably two ways. We don't have a whole lot of loyalty to them. They don't have a whole lot of loyalty to us. So it's a mess for the folks that have to deal with that high churn, high volume stuff. So now that got you through your degree?
That got me almost there. So close to me finishing up my bachelor's degree. At this point, the commute was a little over an hour one way. So again, great experience in that. But I found a role with Commerce Bank right down the road from me. I believe TD purchased them at some
Right.
point along the line. But Commerce Bank was more regional. And in Toms River, New Jersey, was kind of the Ocean County headquarters, if you will, regional office. And again, stayed in recruiting. They're hiring tellers, customer service representatives, mortgage lenders, the administrative kind of staff, and that for Ocean County. And so I would travel to each of the branches, help with interviews, all the hiring. Again, pretty high turnover in the teller space and customer service rep, but very professional. And I mean, this is the point where here I am finishing up my bachelor's degree, fairly young, wearing suits every day.
Oh yeah.
And, and it was
Welcome to Aunt Taylor.
right.
There you go. Yeah.
For sure. And so I really, it was a major shift from, the entertainment industry into
Yeah.
this a little bit more corporate. But it was good for me. And very young, some really great mentors and seasoned colleagues in HR around me who just really helped me grow, gave me some really tough feedback on things very early in my career, but just awesome. The best thing, was the president and CEO's last name was Hill, and my maiden name is Hill. So when I called out to
Everybody was like, "Ooh, Jessica Hill's here."
Well,
when
no
I called,
wonder she got the job.
it was great. And so when I called out to Cherry Hill for anything, oh yes, I'll get
Absolutely.
right to that. So
We will research that right away, Miss Hill.
Yeah. Funny story. I once
That's genius.
interviewed at Commerce
oh,
in Cherry Hill.
very cool.
And I didn't get the job.
She rejected you.
Yeah, it was her.
Not my region, I promise.
But it was centralized.
It was a. I still talk to the guy today. I'm connected with him on LinkedIn. Somehow he found me, But yeah, it was for a sales role, selling some stuff, and it wasn't a fit for me. I was so far out of that. It
Really.
was, but I remember traveling out there. I was young. I was probably a junior in college. My parents are, well, why are you drawing to Cherry Hill? Why are you going to Cherry Hill for it first? I'm like, because that's what they told me in the interview. I don't know, and that's just what I did. But I never got the job.
Uh, but both,
Yeah,
what's interesting in Jessica's, both in the casino business and in the banking or financial services business, there's an element of compliance. Like that's different from some of the other industries, right, that we deal with.
True.
Like in a casino, you had to do everything to the commission, and the commission could change their mind and all that stuff. And with financial services, that's all, that's all through the federal government. And understanding like, okay, what rules, what do we have to abide by, this, that, and the other. I could see the casino being more fun because like crazy stuff could just break out at any moment, and not necessarily in corporate, but at one of the casinos. Crazy stuff doesn't happen in banks.
Mm-mm. Not so much. It's
That's not so
pretty
much.
steady. Yeah.
Pretty steady Eddie. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
So you've got your degree.
Yeah.
You're at the bank. At one point, you get pulled in HR. I'm assuming from recruiting.
So I'm at Commerce, finished my bachelor's, and I immediately go in for my master's. So I started right away on my master's degree. I actually went to Central Michigan University. At the time, they had a satellite campus at Fort Dix and McGuire. So over
Interesting.
there, I think most of the classes were on Fort Dix. So I'd go there on Friday nights and Saturdays, every weekend for a couple of years to get that master's. And so Commerce actually helped fund most of my master's degree, which
that's
was
good.
Tuition reimbursement.
incredible.
Love that.
And of course, at this point, I'm doing my master's. It was an MSA, so Master's of Science in Administration with an HR concentration. And so I could just take all of that HR, knowledge and development and put it right to work with organizational development or whatever the case may be, behavioral. And I was pretty driven and hungry, and I was ready. I was itching to make my next move. And I interviewed and got hired at Booz Allen Hamilton.
Oh, cool.
So
Especially at that
global,
time.
yeah,
They were that was the technical consulting firm,
that's right,
period.
right. So government and
Everyone else was far behind them.
it was awesome.
That's great.
So started with them in New Jersey, again on the recruiting side. This is when they were at Fort Monmouth. And so started kind of doing local recruiting in Eatontown, and while finishing, my master's and my thesis at night and weekends. And that role just quickly expanded and expanded and expanded. So I got into
When
more.
you're talented, that's what they do.
Yeah.
It's like just load you up. It's like, hey,
Fun.
what do you know about onboarding?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay,
nothing.
now you're in charge of onboarding.
Yeah,
I mean, my biggest advice to anyone listening is just say yes. I mean, even though it sounds scary as heck, just say yes. And there's so much that comes from that. But expanded to more regional, and then on the recruiting side. And at one point, they wanted to try something out that's more of a hybrid role, where they could take someone like myself in a geographic location and have them play more of a recruiter and HR generalist role together. And they called it a
Oh,
hybrid. And so I was the first kind of, what I guess just try this out.
right.
Let's pilot this. And it was going really well. And so they actually put two other people in this role in I think both Virginia and Texas. And at some point, again, over a year or so of doing this, I was approached by one of my leaders on the recruiting side, and she said, Jess, it's kind of time to pick a major. Um, if you want to keep growing
You're going to
and
be the global head of talent acquisition. Great.
expanding, like, well,
Yeah.
what do you want to do? And I said, actually, I think I'll go the HR route. And she was the head of recruiting, and she's like, okay.
Well,
I just lost you.
she was thinking of a replacement. She
No,
was doing succession planning.
no, I was so junior. I was so young at this time, but it was great, and it gave me kind of that path then to HR. And I spent at that point we were bringing more commercial. We had our commercial business out in New York City and
Right.
Manhattan, and in Chicago and other places. And
West
so I spent
Coast.
some time on both the government side and the commercial side. So I was commuting into New York City a couple times a week, getting that exposure on the commercial side of the business. And this is before they spun off to Booz
Right.
and Co.
Right.
And again, just awesome experience. And BRAC was nearing. So this is the Base Realignment and Closure Act. Was coming around, and this is like 2008 or so,
Right.
close to 2009.
Right around the financial
And,
crisis.
right. And so Fort Monmouth was going to be closing. And that was, where I was based at the time with Booz Allen, although I traveled a ton. And so, they had approached me and said, would you be willing to relocate to a growth location? And so Norfolk was one of the locations. Huntsville, Alabama was another, and San Antonio, Texas was the third.
Yeah.
And so
Huntsville's all government. That's
Yeah.
all government, defense
Lot of
contractors,
space,
stuff
yeah.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Huh.
So my husband and I, and at the time we had 3 young children. We went to Huntsville, actually on our way, we were coming to North Carolina to visit family here, and we went over to Huntsville to check it out. And so we did a house hunting trip and thought, all right, we can
Your money's going to go a little further.
right, yeah, than Jersey. So
Yeah.
we loved it, and we said, okay, we're going to move to Huntsville. And at the time, the now CEO of Booz Allen and the former CHRO who just retired approached me and said, would you consider San Antonio? Why?
About as opposite as you can get.
So, yeah.
That's fantastic.
I said, and this is no joke, I said, where is San Antonio?
Yeah, of course. You go to Austin, you turn right.
All right.
Got it.
I said, where is that? And then I said, Texas. I don't know. I'm a Jersey girl.
I always forget it's in Texas.
I
Still
know.
today, someone says San Antonio, and I'm thinking West Coast. I don't know why.
Well, it's because of all the pueblos, all the sand, the
That's
Santa Cruz,
Yeah.
all of that stuff.
Sand, yeah.
Yeah. So Jesse, I want to go back
Yeah.
just real quick a moment. That the crossroads where you had to make the decision, HR, recruiting, which path. Some of the people, probably more than some, a lot of the people who listen to this show are probably at that stage or will be at that stage shortly in their career. How did you make that decision? What was that process?
Well, at this point, hold on, Jessica. You had how many years of recruiting under your belt? From Six Flags to
Probably at that point, it was a good 8 or so years, and a little bit of that hybrid time crossover. And for me, I knew I just wanted to diversify and grow beyond recruiting only. I knew my goal at that point was I did want to be a CHRO someday. I did want to be, a leader. And, in early roles, even at Six Flags and, security role, they put me in a supervisor role pretty quickly. And I just remember supervising people who were just 20, 30, 40 years older than me. And like, here I am, this 18-year-old. But I really resonated with, leadership at a young age. And probably some of it is related to my upbringing, not to get into too, psychological things. But I just knew at that time, though, I wanted more of that HR experience and to figure out the other things I love to do, and also what I didn't want to do. The biggest thing for me was also figure out what you don't want and what you don't like as early as you can.
don't want to do payroll. Next, moving on to it needs to be done.
Right.
I don't want to do it.
Right.
Just FYI. Did you live through that era of kind of the blame game of recruiters would blame HR and HR would blame recruiters?
It's still the era of blame.
Not well. Yes and no, of course.
I don't know, the look on her face.
There was an era where it was like Ryan, for us, it's sales and marketing. Sales blames marketing for the leads not being good.
Yeah.
marketing by sales for not closing deals. Like it's constant this battle of tennis going back and forth. And thereabout in that era, it was bloody because they didn't get along. They were under recruiting was under HR's budget and typically their authority. And man, they just slammed each other, and it was a bit grotesque. And Jessica, did so in any of the stops along the way, did you have to deal with that?
Not not really. I do hear about it, and I hear, even from colleagues today who are at different places. Sometimes the HR business partners and in organizations and the recruiters have conflicts, and some of it is who owns that relationship with the business.
Yeah,
And sometimes the HRBPs want to be out in front and own the relationship and have the recruiters kind of, have some of the just, recruit and hire. But there's a partnership to be had, and I think some of it just real, it's about the culture of the organization. It's about the culture and
right.
the leadership of those organizations and how they work together and how they set, here's how we're going to work together. And so I've heard about it. I, you know, I still have, in fact, I mean, Booz Allen, I'm very, very close with the recruiting leadership. And we, and some have moved on, but we do a girls' trip, every year with the recruiters. And I wasn't in recruiting for so many years after I still have relationships and with the HR leaders that I was, very much a part of. I was with them over 17 years at Booz Allen. And
That would be a trip, Ryan. It would be great to be a fly on the wall.
yeah.
That's where you get the real HR stories,
Well,
unfiltered, unvarnished,
you couldn't
HR at
imagine.
night.
cone of silence. Maybe after a couple bottles of wine.
Oh, you couldn't
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah.
HR people, I'll say HR people, they're kind of like teachers for me. Growing up, I've always thought teachers just taught and that was it. They went home, that was it. They didn't have a life. My wife's a teacher, and that is not true. And we see my daughter's teachers out, and that's even more awkward. HR is the same way. It's like HR in the office, HR.
It's the no department.
HR out
No,
of the office.
that's not true.
No, no,
It
that's the
used to be.
percent.
It used to very much
Sorry,
be. Yeah.
my bad. And that was the perception,
Yeah,
especially the
I know.
prevailing perception in the 80s and 90s of personnel.
I know.
It's if you
Yeah.
got called to HR, that was never a good
Oh,
thing.
get your box.
No.
That was never a good like,
No.
hey William, come to HR. It's like, okay, I may as well just go to my
It's
car.
very sad. We always say in my team here today, we're always like, how can we get to yes? That's our mantra. How can we get to yes? How
That's
might we?
genius.
And let's figure out a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, now you have the flexibility, and I think some of that is just growth in all of us. Growth where we understand that this is important, and it's even more important for it to be in conjunction and kind of there's a concert being played. Whereas before, again, 80s and 90s in particular, recruiters would just pass over. They hired, they didn't even get into onboarding, much less anything after onboarding. They would just pass the candidate. Hiring manager said yes, offer letter's been accepted, moving on to the next rec. And now you see recruiters that are like, no, I want to go deeper.
They own it. Yeah.
They want to go deeper into the relationship and help that candidate, now employee, be more successful. And HR is coming more into recruiting, going further and further into pre-boarding.
That's right.
And so after that offer letter is set up, yeah, we're not going to do binders and training for a day or any of that type of stuff. We're going to get you pre-boarded so that you can have a fun and an exciting adventure when you first start. Get all that paperwork stuff out. We got to do it. It's important, but let's get that out of the way and then get into the fun of the job.
Yeah. I agree.
So so you stayed there and then what was the next move?
So was with Booz Allen in San Antonio now. Was there a few years, and what I was looking for, craving, was a headquarters experience. So I'm very far away from headquarters. Which is in Virginia, and I'm in San Antonio. And I jumped over for only a little over a year to Rackspace.
Oh, down in San Antonio. Yeah, yeah,
tech,
yeah.
tech company in a big mall,
Oh, yeah.
with the slide everybody hears about.
Super hot for a minute. Yeah.
Yep. So
Space.
it was
Space.
great.
Did you
Uh,
did you cross paths with a employer branding person named Michael Long?
the name's familiar,
Names for because
but
he created a website
yeah,
called Space,
yeah, okay.
and basically he let the engineers just talk about their jobs. And so it was a way to kind of filter in from an employer branding perspective, filter in, filter out.
It's
Hmm.
probably 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a
I
long
remember
time ago.
we went
We
down
did
there
that.
actually
Yeah.
for a talent net, right?
Yeah.
And we went down there, and then again, every office was a little bit
Hmm.
different. And again, it
Yep,
was an
Yeah.
old renovated mall. Like it was
yeah,
cool.
yeah. Very neat. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
very,
different.
very different.
Yeah.
But
Robert Scoble was there.
okay, okay, I know that name too. But I mean, it gave me that headquarters experience for sure. Gave me the tech experience and that
Yep.
exposure. Hadn't really. I was just keeping in touch with Booz Allen, of course, just the relationships that go back for so long. And after a little over a year, uh, went back to Booz Allen, and at this point to lead kind of a larger talent role for the Army Marine Corps business. Actually, it was Marine. No, I'm sorry, it was Navy Marine Corps business,
Right.
which was bi-coastal and everywhere, and to work with an amazing partner and leader. And the team that I led was really across. It was the whole life cycle. It was from
Oh,
recruiting,
wow.
resource management, so internal placement, and HR. So it was the dream job. I mean, many kind of CHRO with shared services, of course, in the company. I was having the time of my life. It's probably my favorite role ever at that point. And I got a phone call. And this is what's awesome about Booz Allen is about every 18 months you're called to do something different.
100%.
You're either reorganizing the firm and you're landing somewhere different. That was my entire career, 17 years. But got a call again in the middle of my dream job to help and lead a part of the Workday implementation for the entire firm globally.
Oh, bless you.
And first I was like, but I love this job.
Yeah.
Um,
And
so
It's
how
a big
early
new
was that
job.
in was that in Workday's history?
say, what did you say?
How early was that in Workday's history? Because
This
they
is
started in
about,
2007, so
yeah,
we're in a journey.
this is probably 2016.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So they
Um,
had developed out a lot of the HR products and some of the finance products, but not as full as a lot of point solutions. Yeah.
so that took me on planes every week back to DC. It was a huge project. It was 1 year. The thought initially was I stay 50% in the role I loved and 50% on the, which,
Yeah.
wasn't probably realistic, but it actually gave individuals who were aspiring leaders on the team that I was leading the opportunity to develop and grow. And one of them just got a CHRO role. And externally, and so it just made space for others to stretch and grow, and so did that for a bit, and then again after that was done, went into another role to help stand up a little bit of an enhanced shared services model. And around that time, I got a call from HEB, who
I
probably really
do.
well.
Mhm.
Very well.
At the time, HEB was expanding their digital and e-commerce business,
Right.
and they called because they were standing up really a people team, specifically facing digital and the tech. And the person that called said, we heard about you from your Rackspace experience.
Yep.
And so even though I was only there a year, I think everything happens for a reason. Everything in your path is there at the right time. And so I went over to HEB to lead this people
That
team.
was back in San Antonio. Yeah.
That was in San Antonio. Again, headquarters experience. So it did give me that great headquarters experience. Very well-known brand, huge organization. I mean, the largest private and
Mm.
Ryan, do you know
Yeah, yeah,
HEB?
yeah, yeah. We don't
Okay.
have HEB, but yeah, I
Because
know.
Central
Good.
Market,
Yep.
which is one of their stores, direct competitor to Whole Foods at a period.
Got it.
They do
Okay.
it differently.
Yeah.
I actually
Yeah.
prefer Central Market to Whole Foods, but their store procession is like IKEA.
yeah,
So when you go in one place in produce, you go in one place and then you just walk around like it's a guided tour.
yeah.
You don't just pick the aisles that you want to go down. Like you're going through the store, like IKEA. Same bit, same type of format, but man, it's all high end stuff. It's
Mm.
great.
It's an
So,
experience. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Jessica, I
is.
got a question for you around the headquarters experience. So you said this a couple of times, headquarters experience.
Mm-hmm.
That's different from what a lot of people experience today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about that a bit. If
What?
you, what role has that played for you moving into eventually the CHRO role? If you didn't have that headquarters experience, is it different? Do you end up different, or do you get this role at a later time frame?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think there are probably individuals who are maybe in CHR roles who never had that. But I think what it afforded to me was the ability to get senior exposure,
Mhm.
CEO, executive team exposure to develop the relationship. I feel like I'm a better relationship builder in person, um, than maybe remote. And I know these days a lot of individuals are working remote with one another and sometimes, don't meet very, very far in. But I like to be in person with people. I'm in our office 5 days a week with Apex, and I really enjoy that. So I just think that exposure with the senior leadership, understanding the culture, the nuances, the strategy,
How'd you make it through COVID?
it was hard.
Yeah,
And
because
it,
you're a people person
I know,
and you're an in-person
I
person.
know. Yep.
Yeah.
Like,
And I'll tell you, I mean, sitting in San Antonio, Texas during COVID at HEB, of course, when COVID hit, all of our jobs changed, but it was a beautiful thing in some respect because at the time we had purchased Favor, we had acquired Favor, um, and at the time during COVID, we had seniors, senior citizens across the state of Texas who were struggling to get groceries. And what I ended up doing is I ran a call center essentially for senior citizens to get them groceries. And I ran all of the staffing, and we had this team. We just pulled teams from stores, from HR, from everywhere. And we had a whole, 24/7 operation. That was my role during the first part of COVID. Everybody just dropped everything and said, all hands
yeah,
on deck. And that
yeah,
is
we're
HEB.
gonna take this succession plan and let's just
Yeah.
put that over here.
Yeah. So it was amazing. It was, I mean, such a good feeling and what a great organization. At the same time during COVID and leading up to it, my husband lost both of his parents. I lost my mom, and family became like really important. And all of our family is on the East Coast. When I moved for Booz Allen years before, 11 years before, it was like an adventure. But now, my kids were getting a little bit older. They were in high school, probably not the best time to move your kids, but it was COVID. Nobody could go and see each other anyway. So
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
picked up and moved to North Carolina. Reynolds, so tobacco industry, relocated us. So I took a role with Reynolds and spent about 2.5 years with them here in North Carolina. I would say tobacco probably wasn't for me. I'm kind of a health nut.
yeah.
And so a lot of my friends were like, what? But great organization, great experience. Again, probably played about 3 different roles or so in that 2.5 year time frame, which kind of pulled into a couple of things based on my past experience. And so that was going great, and I was having an enjoyable time. Then got a call from a headhunter about this role at Apex Analytics, and some of my first questions were, who is this tech firm in Greensboro, North Carolina?
Yeah, that's a bit
Um,
random, but yeah.
yeah. And it's a CHRO role, in person, which I loved, headquartered in Greensboro. And what really captured my interest was the logos that, the companies that
Oh yeah.
APAC has as customers. Amazing logos. You would know them all. And that captured my interest. And as I started talking to my predecessor, who was retiring after about 15 years, and the CEO and others on the leadership team, it was just an amazing culture. Just believe in kind of what we do and the mission and the value we bring to our customers. And it was an opportunity to come in and scale. And I love scaling. What my predecessor did fantastically is, kind of built kind of the startup and the build. I love the scale and taking something that's great and making it even greater and getting there before kind of the growth. I don't love the maintenance phase but the scale is so fun and exciting.
Oh yeah.
And so,
Got to hire 1,000 engineers
right,
within the year. Say,
right,
say it again.
right,
So, did you
right.
say 1,000
Yeah,
engineers?
yeah. But so I've just been, we've been focused on technology,
That's cool.
partnerships, people on the HR team, even, and process and policies. I've said everything is on the table, anything kind of goes. And we have probably touched everything in 2.5 years.
Is that, Ryan, you've heard that term, radical flexibility from Amy Mosher at iSolved. That was at the beginning of the pandemic. She's like, everything's on the table. There's nothing, whatever
Yeah,
we did before, however we did it before, doesn't matter.
yeah.
I thought that was a great phrase also to carry through after COVID and into life. Just like, hey, no sacred cows. Nothing, whatever's there. If there's a better way to do it, more efficient way to do it, AI, Gen AI, agentic AI, whatever the bid is, let's try it. If it
Yeah.
doesn't work, rip it out.
Mm-hmm.
But Jessica, last question for me is career advice, best career advice you were ever given.
That I was ever given, don't burn bridges. It is a small world we live in. And I tell my kids all the time, you know, your networks are your most powerful thing in your life and your career. And I keep networks as vast and broad everywhere I can. And I learned very early in life, probably in high school years, about burning bridges and the the disaster it could cause, quite frankly. And it's just something I think is the best advice, and that I live by every day.
Yeah. Jessica, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for taking time out and coming to share your story. Journey's fantastic. We learned a lot.
Thank
I'm
you.
thinking about the criminal investigation. I'm still thinking about the criminal justice bit and how that ties to sexual harassment investigations. So that's where when you first said that, I'm like, oh, well, she's got to be really good at the investigation stuff because she's curious about it. I didn't bring it up.
Thankfully, we don't have a lot of that, which is
Oh yeah,
so.
thank God. Yes, it has gotten better, but still, at least having a criminal background, a criminal investigation background, criminal science, and psychology, all those things kind of fit for me.
Right.
Like it now makes sense looking backwards.
Yeah, for sure.
Like all those pieces make sense. So,
Sure.
Brian, you nailed it. Thank you so much for coming
Thank
on the
you.
show.
I appreciate your
Lovely.
time. This is a great time.